Welcome to the T-Dub racket review of the Prince ATS Techstream Tour 100 290. The lightest member of the ATS Techstream Tour family is not to be overlooked. The Tour 100 290 grams features updates including a more flexible beam for added comfort, as well as ATS technology for a more powerful and stable overall response. Additionally, the open 16 by 18 string pattern offers plenty of spin potential on any stroke. I want to first start off by saying that I'm going to call this racket a hidden gem. When I hit the court and I started playtesting this racket, the first thing I noticed was the high playability that this racket offered off of every stroke. On the baseline with my ground strokes, I found controllable power and it was really easy to swing. And then when I approached up to net, I had the most success keeping my hands in front and really punching that volley deep. I did enjoy the responsive feel that this racket offered as well. With the 16 by 18 string pattern, I really found great spin potential with this racket. I could really whip my wrist around and create a lot of spin, and this was most apparent when I was hitting serves. I loved taking my first serve and carving it out wide on the deuce side and really opening up the court. Now, with the weight being lighter than 300 grams, I did expect some stability issues, and I did feel it a little bit at times on my volley and on my return, but I will have to say, for 290 grams, this racket played pretty stable, and I think it's also a great platform racket. You could customize it, add a little bit of weight, and increase that stability. Overall though, this is actually my favorite racket in the Tour line, and I think it's great for players who are looking to grow with their game.
I really enjoyed playtesting this racket. I loved how maneuverable and spin friendly this racket was. I really felt like I could get tons of spin on my ground strokes. And because of that 16 by 18 string pattern, I was getting a slightly higher launch angle, so I was getting nice, easy depth on my shots as well. I loved it on my volleys. The racket felt super quick up at net. It was just kind of point and shoot for me, and I also loved the feel on it. On serve, really no complaints there. It was just a really easy racket to swing with. Really the only downsides for me stemmed from the overall mass of this racket. I felt like I just couldn't put away shots as easy or hit as many winners as I would have liked on my ground strokes, and the torsional stability wasn't as stable as I would have preferred, but very easy to fix with some tungsten tape. So overall, I loved hitting with this racket. It really reminds me a lot of the Wilson Blade 100 V7 or the new 100L racket, but with a more plush, softer feel. I'm going to continue hitting with this racket, and it's something that I can certainly see myself switching to.
I'm a big fan of the ATS Techstream line. I actually use the 100P version from this collection. I just love the feel, and it really was here in the 290 too. The difference is being this one is a little bit lighter and also has a more open string pattern than my own 100P. And what that meant was I really felt it was very easy to swing. It hid its lighter weight very well. I didn't have much problems with stability from the baseline, and I only noticed it was a little bit unstable when I was hitting high above my shoulder out of my strike zone. What I did get from this was I thought it was easier net clearance. When I was pushed back, I was getting those shots deep, and I didn't have to swing as hard to get that easy net clearance. Also, really great access to topspin. I took this out for a game of dingles, and I was loving the angles I was able to hit. I was getting lots of topspin, good dipping shots. At net, I'm always focused on maneuverability, and this racket offered that to me, and so I felt confident heading to net, and I could punch the ball deep with some good pace. On serve, I appreciated how quickly it swung overhead. It does offer easier spin than my racket on serve, so I enjoyed it there. Overall, this is one of my favorite rackets in the line. However, it doesn't quite edge out my 100P. I still do really like that tighter string pattern.
All right, I'll start off by saying this is my favorite racket under 300 grams. It was a super enjoyable play test, and even though I personally prefer a heavier racket, after I got dialed in with it, I loved the amount of topspin I could generate as well as the control. So I felt like I could put the ball anywhere I wanted in the court. I had a tendency to just kind of relax my grip, and instead of trying to muscle the ball from the baseline, I really just let the racket do the work for me, and that gave me really easy net clearance and an amazing amount of consistency. I felt like I could really play long rallies with this racket, which was really surprising and something I really enjoyed. Now moving on to serve, that was where that mass that I prefer overhead, I felt like my serves weren't quite moving as much as they normally would, and I was definitely missing some power, but again, consistency was definitely the highlight there. So overall, I think this is a racket, like other playtesters mentioned, it would be a great platform racket. I could see myself adding a little bit of weight and loving this in tournament play. But as it sits in stock form, I think it's also a great intermediate frame where the easy maneuverability is going to offer that perfect balance for a lot of players.
We strung up this Tour 100 290 with Prince Vortex at around 53 pounds. For more information on this racket or any others, please check us out at Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.